Hey everyone, and welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you for joining. Today, I will be joined by Julie Hilsen. Julie has spent her life in the love vibration. From an early age, she was empathetically connected with people of all ages, origins, and creeds. Julie's masters in communication sciences and connections to spirit are blended within her new book, Life of Love, a joyful guide to self and sensuality. Julie is a certified angel practitioner, intuitive, and transformational coach. She'll join me in a few minutes to discuss her new book and how she reconnected to joy in her life and how we can all do the same. So stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back with Julie. Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thank you all for joining. So now I am joined by Julie. Welcome, Julie, to the Glow Up Girl podcast.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to be here, Kyra. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to reach out to your audience and connect with you today. Just such an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, why don't you get started by telling everyone out there listening or watching who you are and what you do?
Okay. Well, I'm Julie Hilsen, and I have so many labels, so many roles, but I guess I'm most proud of being a mom. And then I'm one of those, I'm a water symbol, I'm a Cancer. So I just show up in the world however it flows. And so I'm a speech pathologist by training, but I've just loved being in nature and connecting to people. And I've always just wanted to shine my light ever since I was a little girl. I've always been like, happy and trying to make everybody else happy around me. And, I got to be in my 40s and being a mom of two boys and being married 20 years and, just showing up for everybody. I sort of hit a wall and I was like, I'm doing everything to keep my vibration high and I'm showing up in the world. And I know my purpose is to show love and be loving, but I hit a wall and I was just like, wait a minute, I forgot to love myself as much as I love everyone around me. And once I went through those dark nights of the soul to find out what exactly Julie wanted, I was reading self-help books. I was going to Tony Robbins convention. I was bringing my husband. Like I was doing everything because I was on this quest. And I don't know, it took me about 5 or 6 years and just always wanting to be a high vibration person and always trying to figure out how I can show up. I realized that I had some things I could share. And COVID hit and I wrote a book. And I don't mean to be like braggy, but it's a special book because I asked the angels to help me. And I channeled. The angels were giving me messages. They were giving whoever wants to look at my book messages. It's written from my heart. And so then I started saying, well, how am I going to tell people about my book? And so I started podcasting and I get to meet beautiful, wonderful people like you. And I don't know, it's just been amazing. So my book is it's broken up into 3 parts. So you get to know what your soul light is, get to know yourself, get to know how to take care of yourself and your body. And then the 3rd section is about your dynamics, how you're interacting with your love in the world. And I give people exercises to get to know their joy because it's different for everybody. You can't look at your neighbor and think that her joy is going to be the same as yours because we all have our divine purpose.
Exactly.
And that is wonderful because then you get to know like yourself and then you get to know your peace in the world. And you find your peace in the world because you're showing up as your best self. So yes. Everything that I tell people to try to do and everything's up to you. If it resonates with you, try it. If not, please leave it because not everything's for everybody. But everything that I suggest, I have a channel devotion from the angels or an action from the angels. It's all, I got to a quiet place and I asked, how can we ask for help? How can people connect to their spiritual self, their higher self for the highest good of themselves and there for everyone around them? And so I'm really excited to offer this gift from the angels. I feel honored that they were able to do it through me. And so that's my book. And we're publishing and it should be coming out I don't know, mid-August. It's hard with the
Awesome.
artwork. And so,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's been a
And just,
journey.
yeah. I love, thank you for giving that insight. I love all that because I mean, it seems like, and I know this because women, right, go through, a lot of women are probably in the same situation where you were, where you said you were giving so much of yourself to other people. You were trying to be like everything for your family. And you needed to figure out like, as I know you speak about, connecting to joy and being able to find that joy that is yours and that thing that, is Julie's and not the piece that you have to give to everybody else. But I know what would you say you see as the most common challenges and why people struggle with connecting and finding their own joy?
I think it gets so personal. Like it's a lot of work. It's easier to see how you're reflecting in other people's eyes and wait for their approval. And we've set up with a society where it's like, well, what grades can I get? And where can I go to school? And we're based on this, and it's changing. I'm not saying that we're stuck because we're definitely changing, but the way society is set up and the way it's all about results, right? So it's a lot of work to look in yourself and do that soul searching. And I think that people are a little scared to be vulnerable. I think it's the biggest thing is that vulnerability. But once you face that monster of your weaknesses, because we want to hide our weakness because that makes us, susceptible. It makes us different, growing up, you don't want to be different. You just want to fit in. You just want to be like everybody else. But then you lose yourself. So I think that's the biggest struggle is that being vulnerable to really feel what's coming in. And then once you get those feelings, you have action steps. Once you find your vulnerability, those are actually your vulnerabilities are your strengths. That's your superhero power. Because that's your specialness, whatever makes you feel the most
Exactly. Yeah.
different. That's your magic.
Yes, I love that because I do always refer to it as magic. I'm like, that's your magic. Like, I mean, the things that make you stand out, like why be in a seat of same when you can be different, right? And but I think that it's probably a lot harder, right, at different seasons of our life, right? When you're younger, like the last thing you want to do, right, is stand out or be different from most people. I mean, at least I know that times are changing, things are different. But a lot of times, like you said, people just want to fit. They don't want to be different. And so it's find that ability to celebrate those things that make you different from your unique or special traits and that magic that only you have.
Yeah. So I feel like it's sort of everyone's responsibility to look to everyone else and just find their little difference and say, I appreciate how you show up with that. Like you're rocking some pink hair and I would love to get my hair that shade, but I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, like, there's so many things that you can acknowledge in others. And then once you give that, it's a little soul sparkle, then they're affirmed. And it's not from a place of materialism or jealousy, but it takes a little while to get there. But I think if we can help our children, and our families just recognize, and, some things that make me crazy about my family, I've started to realize those are things that I need to compliment them on. Like, I don't want to pick on my family on your podcast, but I tried to just turn it around. Like,
I know I definitely know what you mean. I mean, I think you said you've been married for 20 years. Like I've been married for 18 years and even as long as, we've been together, whatever, there are moments now where I'm seeing things where I'm like, you know what, you could just say this thing versus, or there was like a moment where maybe my husband said something like, he's like, oh, I'm like, just really proud of you and like all the things that you've done. And I was sitting on the sofa and it came out of nowhere. And like I was getting up because I was going to use the bathroom. And when I was in the bathroom, I just like heard like God say, like, you know, you need to thank him for that. You need to thank him for the fact that he complimented you. And usually I wouldn't do, normally I would just, you know, because you don't know, you kind of be like, okay, oh, thank you. You know, and so then I said, you know what? Thank you for complimenting me. I'm really appreciative. I said, that means a lot coming from you as my partner. And I said, and I really appreciate that because there is a sense of like proudness for me that I feel when he's proud, you know, of me and the things that I'm able to accomplish. So I know what you're saying in that sense of like, you just begin to do things that maybe scenarios or situations where you would have reacted differently or maybe not reacted. Now you're sort of turning those because then they become moments of like compliments to both people. Like, whereas he complimented me, that I complimented him by, you know, as well.
Yeah. And at first you feel a little corny, like it's sort of uncomfortable because, but it's really gooey. It just gets so gooey. And why can't you imagine that kind of, you know,
yeah,
gooey love and relationship? Like, oh, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. Like,
yes. Oh my gosh. Like, yes. I mean, call me like, I'll give me all those things because I just think that, I mean, that, like you said, is the purest like moments, right? It's the moments where you're not thinking about what somebody's going to think if they heard you say, you know, if they heard you say something, like you just say it because it comes from the heart.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that
awesome.
It has to start in your heart. And then when you can recognize the goodness in you, it's easier to recognize the goodness around you. And then all of a sudden the universe opens up because your thoughts create your reality. It's just a whole cycle of unconditional love. And that's another thing I wanted to celebrate in my book was the divine feminine. I mean, we need to celebrate how much we as women love to love. I think it gets suppressed because, you know, it might seem like we're not strong, but love can be fierce, right? Like there's fierce love, there's strong love, there's, you need to hear this love. I'm telling you this out of love. I mean, we think about love being romantic all the time, but the way women can show up with unconditional love is something that
it's special.
special, like, and you can feel it, it's powerful.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage everybody, even if you're a man, you know, you can be connected to your divine feminine unconditional love too. We all have male aspects in us and female, and just embrace those. You know, your male aspects are your drive and your productivity and, like, you know, making things make sense and your ambition. But your female, your divine feminine is your, you know, your ability to see what other people need, to have compassion and, you know, and business. And I know that you like to help entrepreneurs, and that's the way you're showing up with unconditional love, is, you know, helping other women find their power. So I just want to respect and just celebrate, you know, how we are as women and our limitless potential. Once we say, yes, love is something I identify with, and that's the vibration I want to be in. And if I sink down to jealousy or resentment, you know, you can be there, but just say, no, I'd rather be up in love. So I'm going to work through this and then get back up where I'm at my strength, you know, my highest good. How can I show up?
Exactly. So, speaking, talking, you know, more about your book. So your book is called Life of Love, A Joyful Guide to Self and Sensuality.
Yes.
And so you obviously were inspired to write your book during the time that you were sort of rediscovering your Julie's joy.
Right. Awesome. And well, the power of really feeling, it opens up a new sensuality when you're open. And honestly, I wasn't going to write a book about, you know, sensuality, but it just came out. And then just to be completely honest with you, I had just found out about a lot of sad things in our society, about a lot of underground activities that men were doing to fulfill that connection. And I was like, are we not showing up for each other? Like, why are people going to these dark services that aren't for the good? They're for using people and abusing people. And I don't want to get into it, but I was really, my soul was shaken when I heard about the human trafficking issues in our world. My soul was completely like, what can I do? I can't go and fight them. I can't go, but I can write a book about love, and I can write a book about showing up for each other and being aware of what's going around, so we can stop it from our communities. We can cherish our lives and say no.
Right.
So that was my motivation. And I was like, well, the reason we're here is because we're divine souls in a human body, and being sensual is a gift. Like, I don't think that, the angels have sensuality, but I think we can ask them to help us find our greatest joy. So, I do have devotions from the angels to help open up your pleasures and just to live your fullest life, because that's part of being a human, is connecting on that level.
Various levels. And so you mentioned earlier when you were talking, if you wouldn't mind, can you go through, I know that you said your book is broken up into 3 parts. Could you maybe just touch on those again for the audience out there?
Sure. So the first part is connecting to your light. And then I go into how to find, your peace, and exercises to find your soul, and just reflections. And so it's about getting to know yourself, and just simple joys, finding your joy, like you said, just joy in complimenting somebody else. It's not joy of material things. It's joy, like maybe you identify with plants, or you like to, you have pets. I mean, there are wonderful codes around us if we can look at nature. There's sacred geometry. When you stare at a flower, those geometric patterns are shown in temples and different power centers in our world, but they're all around us. And for some reason, our culture has pushed those aside, and everybody knows a Nike symbol, but not everybody knows the tree of life, or the matrix, that the beautiful patterns that sound creates when you play divine sounds. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole with this, but if you play divine, heart frequency sounds, like 528 hertz, and you can look on Spotify for heart hertz music. If you play those underneath a bowl of sand, or sand on a piece of paper, it'll make these sacred shapes in the sand. The vibration, and we're all energy. We're all connecting, whether we realize it or not. We're connecting with nature. We're connecting with ourselves and other people in these divine ways. But in order to find it, you have to find your peace, and you have to find the way you like to connect. I also talk about essential oils, and how that's the plant's signature energy is in that essential oil. And that's why it's powerful for some people to have the scents. And, you can walk into someone's house and smell cookies and immediately be taken to your grandmother's kitchen, right? The power of smell. So it's finding the way you like to connect with the divinity around you. So I give people exercises and things to go through that, and what your perfect day is, and what your, what your favorite things are, what's your favorite touch? What's your favorite, when you watch a movie, just go into these little nooks and crannies of everyday life and find out what yours are.
Right.
So it's activities. There's fill in the blanks. It's an active book.
I like it. Awesome.
It's so fun. And then part two is getting into diet, and how what you put in your body affects how your body can show up. And just talk about those kind of things, and additives, and why, vegetable oil might not be your best choice, even though it has vegetable in the name. There's some things in our society that we're not teaching in school. We're not teaching like clean eating, and how much it can affect your clarity.
Right.
So I go into a lot of the diet and taking care of your body and different kinds of exercise. Like, you don't have to be sporty to exercise. And so I have all these, I have this, it's a graphic with a bunch of different activities, and, bird watching is exercise. You're out there looking and you're walking, and there's a lot of great exercise that isn't exercise, like we did in PE class.
Yeah.
So I go into a lot of that, and because I love being outside and the nature and hikes and whatnot. And then the third section is dynamics of love, and that's conflict resolution, how you're connecting to your family, and how you can ask them to show up for you. There's exercises on that, and there's even I really love doing this. It's a decision tree when you get in a fight. And so you start at the beginning. It's like, can you tell them why you're mad? And it's like, no. So then go take a walk. And then can you come back and decide why you're mad? It's like, no, go for a longer walk. Like, it's a loop. It's like,
awesome.
Until you can think of one nice thing to say to them, you're not allowed to talk to them.
You're gonna keep doing activities until you can calm down, get it together.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that was really fun to do that. And and then, there's angel prayers, or, connecting to your divinity or source. Those are mixed in appropriately to the topic. And then I have an index, so you can just look up, say you're having trouble with something, you can look up in the back and go directly to that section.
Awesome.
So it's been really fun.
Yeah. So you said you think your book is going to be ready August?
Yeah, I don't know why, but the artwork and stuff has taken a long time.
Okay.
And I expected to be able to say today, yes, it's available. So
hey, well,
we did the final edits right before 4th of July. So I was hoping to hear something this week, but I'm just, trying to be patient yet intense. Full of intent. So I would be surprised if it's not available in August. We're really close.
Awesome.
And my website is youneedapeptalk.com.
Okay.
And so there'll be a link on my website to the book. And my publisher is Grace Point Publishing, and it's available on pre-order there.
Oh, fantastic. So anyone listening, you can grab now on pre-order, or you can go to Julie's website.
Thank you for asking me about it. I'm so excited about it.
Of course. Well, we are going to, I love that. I mean, it's a great topic. It's a topic that I love to talk about, is joy. And I love that you've created a book, that helps people to reconnect and find joy in their life. So I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Well, I think what you do is fantastic, and I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Awesome. Yes, of course. I always want to elevate and showcase another woman out there doing it. And especially when, you're providing resources and tools to help other people become better versions of themselves. That's what this podcast is. That's why I created it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what brought us together. It wasn't an accident. I'm very very thankful.
All right. Well, we're going to move into 3 things with Julie. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, going to help the audience just get to know you a little bit better. So how do you start and end your day?
When I wake up, before I pick up my head, I open my eyes and I say, God, thank you for this day. And then I ask the angels to help me bring forth the highest expression of this day. And then I take a deep breath and I try to feel all my body parts, check in to all my systems, like my deep breath and my muscles and my shoulders. And I just check in and think about what I did the day before that maybe made me tense, and how I could do better on this day. Because I do believe each moment is a chance to create the life of your dreams. So I don't beat myself up. Like if I wake up dehydrated, I don't say, oh, you're such a dumbass. Why didn't you drink enough water? I do not talk to myself like that anymore. I say, you're going to get up and have some lemon water because you might be, honey, you might be a little dehydrated. I started talking to myself like I would my best friend.
Yeah,
And
you've removed all the negative self-talk and you're just speaking positively to yourself, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then usually my dog is laying where my husband got up. So
Nice.
I get a little snuggle with my puppy, and she's 5, but she's still a puppy. And
oh my gosh, tell me about it. Mine is 4, but he's still my puppy. And so always gonna be my puppy.
Oh, it's just that love. And, just surround yourself with the things you love, because it's just little things that make your day. It's not so really big.
Good for your soul. So good for your soul. Like good for the spirit. Now, how do you end the day?
And to end the day, I'm not as consistent about it, but I do think about my day and thank God for everything that I was given. That gratitude's huge.
Yeah. I like it.
I did get an acupressure mat, and I started standing on that when I brush my teeth. And that's really helped me sleep better. So I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but I got one for my birthday, and I've really enjoyed the acupressure. That's become part of my nightly routine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, if you are someone who sets goals, or some people, say they set intentions, what's one thing you've set for yourself this year?
Oh, that grace. I want to be in grace, because I still slip into, that victimhood thing, and I just want to stay. And I ask for Mother Mary to help me, because I think she's the epitome of grace, and Mary Magdalene. And we have so many strong women we can rely on, and just ask for their help. And I have called them in to help me just channel how they maintained their grace. Because I do fall down, and I can be ugly, but I don't want to be ugly. I want to be in grace. Like, I don't want to get angry for somebody being, what really triggers me is people who take other people for granted or misuse other people's time. And it really gets me, like, because I'm a giving person, and then I feel taken advantage of, and I get, I try to, my whole goal this year, and I've been really working on it, is just to find that grace and just express where I am, what my perspective, because I don't need to be pulled into the anger. I just need to say, hey, I know you're not meaning to show up this way, but this is the way I'm seeing it.
Right.
Yep. This doesn't work for me, so I can remove myself from the situation and just, but I think it's part of our responsibility to let other people know so they can do better.
Yes.
And it's not that I'm a know-it-all. Like, I don't know it all at all, but I do want people to show up in a certain way. And if they can't, then, it's fine. You have to resonate with those people that can lift each other up. And
exactly.
They want the gift of Julie. They need to be nice. So
exactly. Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. Okay. And last question. What do you do when you have a day off?
When I have a day off, I love to go for a hike. If I have like 2 or 3 hours and I don't have to run or be anywhere, I love to just go and be with the trees and listen to the birds. I mean, it sounds corny, but then, they call it forest bathing in Japan. It's like healthy. It's really good for you. So I don't feel guilty just going off by myself. And
it's like you said, it's all about you having that opportunity to connect to your joy and what brings you joy. I think that's so fantastic. Okay. So thank you so much for joining today. This is a great discussion. Like I said, one of my favorite topics to talk about is joy. Before I let you go, can you leave our audience with 3 things you'd like for them to take away from this discussion today?
Okay. I want your audience to know that they are beautiful, divine beings, and they're here for a reason. Awesome. And it doesn't have to be something like becoming president. It's just being who you are. When you show up as you, your authentic self, you are the most powerful, beautiful being on the earth. And I just want people to know that.
Awesome.
And if you're having trouble feeling that, because it happens, life takes over, and we can't always live in the spiritual, like, supportive realm. If you're having trouble with it, just do yourself a favor, just for 5 minutes. and I have these in my book too. I have, if you have 5-10 minutes, a half hour, an hour, things you can do to take care of yourself. But if you just have 5 minutes, just get in the quiet and just feel your breath. Just live in your breath. And then once you've taken some breaths, like through your nose and just calmly, just breathing, then feel your heart. And if you connect your hope with your breath and your heart, you can find your peace and just go from there, because everything you need is right within you. You can go ask for help. You can go get assistance. You can have gurus or people you rely on. But when it all comes down to the end of the day, it's you, and you have everything you need.
Awesome. Thank you. Love that.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much again, Julie, for joining. Excited for your book to come out and to be a reader of that, because I think it's going to be fantastic. And you can always come back here and share in the future as well.
Kyra, I would be honored, and I'm so like tickled that you want to read it and that we're connecting this way. And we almost live in the same zip code, so that's
exactly.
even better.
Exactly. Well,
we're both Georgia tuned. Girls.
That's right, Georgia. Woo-hoo. Stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thanks again to Julie for joining the show today and for sharing her personal story of reconnecting to joy, as well as sharing some tips with us on how we can do the same. If you'd like to learn more about Julie and her upcoming book, you can visit her site at youneedapeptalk.com or gracepointpublishing.com. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, visit us at glowupgirl.com. There you can check out past podcast episodes. You can sign up to be a guest on the show. You can also sign up to advertise with us as well, grab social links, free training and resources, and so much more. Thank you all for joining me today, and I'll see you again next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.